Hi, I'm Tom Marks with the Marks Law Firm. Welcome to the Healthy Family Law Attorney. I want you to know that I believe that your family matters, and so I want to provide hope to help you and your family through the family law process in a healthy way. So today we're going to talk about the initial consult. My last video, I talked about how to find the right lawyer, family law attorney for you. Today we're going to talk about you found who you think is that right family law attorney, and you want now to go in and meet with them. So this is the initial consult. You're going to want to prepare a little bit before you meet with the attorney. Number one, you want to have done your research, know a little bit about the attorney, how they were recommended, how you were referred, a little bit, maybe you want to look at their background, their education, and so forth. But you're going to have certain questions you're going to want to ask, and you don't want to forget those. So what do? Well, you write down any questions that you have. If you have some trusted friend or family member that can help you talk it through, like, okay, I'm going to meet with this attorney. What am I going to want to learn while I'm in there that's specific to my situation? Write that down so you bring it with you. Second, I would say bring some basic documents, some bank statements, credit card statements, savings checking, that kind of stuff. It's not absolutely necessary because in the initial consult, you're going to get into more of a big picture view of it. So you arrive at the attorney's office, you're greeted, you're brought back in. The first thing I'm going to do after introducing myself is to ask you, so tell me about your situation. Why are you here? What brought you here? What's going on in your case? The reason I do that is because I want you to talk about what's most important to you first. A lot of lawyers, we have a lot of education and knowledge and experience, and we could just start talking about all the things that we know about family law and how cases go generally and all that. But that's not what you're there for. You're there to be heard, to be understood, to be cared about, that you know that the lawyer's going to try to accomplish your goals, that he or she is going to give you sound legal advice. So you want to tell the lawyer what's happened. What is your story? Why are you in the family law attorney's office? And you want to feel like at least the family law attorney is doing what's in your best interest and not in theirs. So it may be that the family law attorney talks to you about, have you tried counseling? Is there any hope of reconciling the marriage? Now, I know when I was chairman of the Family Law Executive Committee, and I would encourage my different members of the committee to encourage reconciliation. At first, I'd get a little bit of a funny look because, they'd go, well, don't you know if your client reconciles, then you lose a paying client? Well, we want to do what's in the best interest of our client. We want to do things in a healthy way. I'm a person of faith. I want to know that I'm treating people with dignity and care and respect. And so if I can help you reconcile, not doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, Einstein's theory of insanity, but actually doing something different. In other words, getting into some good counseling. Both of you, it takes two people to make a marriage, right? And marriage is hard. It's not easy. So you want an attorney that's going to be open-minded enough to at least look at with your story if that's a possibility. Now, a lot of times it's really not because, there might be emotional or physical abuse in the marriage, or it may have just been going on for so long that it's kind of a done deal. And I find that a lot of times people who come into my office seeking a divorce have, for all intents and purposes, been divorced for years, living really separate lives, not being in love with their spouse or partner, and just a lot of hurt having gone on. So I really do understand that, and I do realize and accept that, and I will be supportive. So you're coming in, you're telling your story, and then the attorney can then say to you, okay, so here is the law, and here's how the case can go. I think I've talked about in a prior video that the Florida legislature has passed a statute now enacting collaborative law as an option for family law clients in Florida. Well, it also requires the lawyer to talk to you about collaborative law as an option for you to choose. And I'd say probably, I don't know the exact percentage, but probably 10% of Florida lawyers are collaboratively trained formally. So they still need to talk to you about that as an option. It may or may not be. Look at my prior video on collaborative law to see if it might be an option for you. Then the lawyer should talk to you about the more traditional litigation model. Here's how that happens. Now, I will tell you that about 80% of all cases settle by the time you go to mediation. And mediation's a great thing because, yes, the majority of cases settle. You're not going to be able to see a judge in a contested case or in a contested hearing until you've been to mediation first and it's not settled, it's impassed. That's when your case can now go before the judge. It now becomes contested. Unfortunately, it now becomes more expensive. So the remaining 20% of cases that go into the contested phase, 15% of that 20 will settle even in the contested phase. So don't think you're not going to be able to settle your case or that you're going to have to go to trial. The unfortunate 5% that go to trial costs a lot more financially, emotionally, psychologically, familially, spiritually. I mean, trial is a very difficult thing. That's when all the resources are put together to present your case and to oppose your spouse's or your partner's case. So there's a lot. I haven't gotten into a video on trial yet. I'll be happy to do that. I will do that. But I just want to say, this is big picture. This is overview. 80% settle by the time of mediation, 15% settle in the contested phase, and then the last 5% go to trial. Okay. The lawyer's also going to tell you, okay, Florida's a no-fault divorce state, so we don't get into grounds for the purposes of whether a divorce is granted or not. A lot of people think that the judge gets into fault or is there some wrongdoing when ordering alimony. That's still actually in the statute, but the Florida Supreme Court has ruled it's no longer a factor. Although I will say judges are human beings, so they'll hear it, whether they say that's part of what entered into their decision making. They won't, but still they're human beings. Your lawyer can talk to you about that. There's a lot of strategy that goes on in a family law case. So you want to start talking about that a little bit in the initial consult. But you're looking for the lawyer who not only has the experience level, as I've talked about in the last video, and has the skills and ability, and has the leadership, and has the reputation, and practices either exclusively or primarily in family law. But you also want to have that attorney that you feel like you have a good fit with, that you feel like, okay, they're listening to you. They hear what you have to say. They know what your goals are, and they're going to give you really good legal advice. Are those goals achievable? Are they in the ballpark? Is it realistic? Because you don't want a lawyer just telling you something you want to hear even though it's likely not going to happen. So there may be, parameters. Here's, you're going to go to mediation. So here's your line in the sand. You're not going to go back beyond this, but really here's your goal. And then what's in the ballpark? If you get this settlement with equitable distribution, you're going to get child support if there's minor children and the other parent makes more money. And depending on the time sharing that's settled or decided by the court. Alimony is a much more subjective factor. There's a lot of factors that go into that. There's 6 types of alimony. I've talked about that in a prior video, and all that goes into alimony. Alimony cases are tough, and permanent periodic alimony is under attack. That's available typically in longer term marriages. Long-term marriage is defined as over 17 years, medium-term marriage 7 to 17, and a short-term marriage 0 to 7 years. So there's a lot that goes into that. I've talked about that in a prior video. So the lawyers, really for me, what's really a matter of principle and what's really important and really the big part of the case is the minor children, because personal property, whether they're, furnishings, lamps, artwork, whatever, is tangible personal property. I mean, you put a value on it, you split it up, equitable distribution. It's really not principle. I know it may feel like that. There are some things like family heirlooms and so forth, but the reality is the children are what's important. Protecting them, encouraging co-parenting, healthy co-parenting. There's co-parenting counseling we can talk about. There's something known as a parenting coordinator. If it's a really high conflict custody battle, we can talk about a guardian ad litem or a social investigator. I can do videos on those topics in more detail if someone would like me to. Just put that in the comment section and I'll be happy to do that. So in this initial consult, you're seeing if this lawyer is going to be a good fit. Yes, do they have the experience and the practice area and all of that, and know the law and be able to apply it. But really what you're looking for, hopefully, is the lawyer that's going to be a good fit in that they're going to care about you. They're going to know your goals. They're going to try to provide what you want to accomplish. And they're really going to give you clear, definable legal advice that helps you navigate the process in a healthy way to avoid as much conflict as possible. The lawyer's also supposed to provide some hope for you, to paint maybe an emotional word picture so you know what to expect at different parts of the case. You shouldn't have to be guessing. You should know, okay, this is what's going to happen. These are the options. We can file the petition, or we can put together a marital settlement agreement. We can put together a parenting plan. We can try to negotiate things before the suit is filed even, so that we keep the acrimony and conflict to a minimum. That's a strategy that I use frequently. Sometimes you do need to get the petition filed because there's an administrative order in place that the lawyer can tell you about that requires the parties to maintain the status quo. So one party doesn't drop the other one from insurance or sell a significant piece of property or go into other significant debt. You're supposed to provide support as you have historically done during the marriage. So these are a lot of factors. This is a lot of what we would talk about in an initial consultation. But the bottom line is, do you feel like this lawyer is going to be a good fit for you and take care of you? So I hope this video has provided some hope and some help to you. I hope it's the content has been valuable. If it has, as always, would love it if you would hit that like button and subscribe and hit that bell icon. Again, I'll be posting videos every Wednesday at noon. I'm going to be starting, probably by the time you see this, we'll have started a second video series as part of the Healthy Family Law Attorney series of videos, and those are going to be interviews with other professionals that support the family law process, whether it be realtors, mortgage brokers, therapists, and so forth. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video.